Howdy heck and hello H2Os, roller bros, and musical monsters alike. I'm your guide Q, and welcome back to r/Am I the Antagonist. I love going through these because I get to give my opinion, which obviously if you know this channel, I love to talk about things, and I get to hear your opinions on these topics, so let's get right into the stories. Am I the antagonist for walking out on a blind date because the woman was very overweight? To make a long story short, a club at my university was doing this blind date program where you enter preferences via their website and they have a matchmaking team that finds the best potential date. It's in their beta phase, so normally it would cost something, but they want feedback, so they actually offer gift cards for doing it. My friends did it and got the gift cards, and I figured, hey, whatever, I'll go have dinner with someone for basically free when you factor in the gift card. I entered my preferences, and the key thing to note is that I put down I'm into fitness and healthy lifestyles. You can't put down what you don't like, you just put what you like. I basically let them know I was looking for someone that enjoyed healthy living like I do. So basically, I submitted my form and they told me what restaurant I would be going to, and we both confirmed, and we showed up at the designated time. I show up to the restaurant a few minutes early and I see an obese woman sitting at the table. My heart sunk. I was completely and utterly disgusted. I'm not talking thick or a tad overweight or out of shape. No, this woman had an eating disorder. I immediately walked out of the restaurant and sent a text to her saying last minute I couldn't go to the restaurant. I didn't tell her why or follow up with anything else. She never responded. I felt horrible. I didn't turn in my survey and I didn't collect my $20 gift card. When they asked me why I didn't want to do the feedback and get my gift card, I simply told the dude, you guys set me up with an obese woman, and I walked out. I was mostly embarrassed, but also angry, disappointed, and overall exhausted with the whole situation. This one is super complicated, and let me know what you think in the poll. It's going to pop up in the top right corner of your screen and the comments down below. But let's just start off with the blind date thing. This guy didn't specifically enter a body type preference. Yeah, he said he was into fitness and healthy lifestyles, but hypothetically, this woman could be at the beginning of her weight loss journey or something like that, or she could be in the middle of it. Who knows how obese she could have been before he saw her on that given night. She also could be binging for every single meal and spending every day at home playing video games. The truth is, we just do not know. So I don't know how he would have ideally handled this situation. I mean, does he go through with the date and give the girl false hope? Because obviously it was a deal breaker for him right off the bat that she was obese. So let me know what you think the ideal way to handle this date would have been, because I sure as heck do not know. I do think he was a little bit of a butthole when he just told the guy, you guys set me up with an obese woman. Like, I feel like he should have given this person more feedback. Like, hey, I think you should have body type preferences in this whole blind date thing. But that kind of brings me to my main point, which is if you have a specific body type preference, maybe you shouldn't be using this freaking blind date program. Like, don't go on blind dates if you're not the type of person that is willing to accept all types of different looks in people. Am I the antagonist for telling my husband he can't have his nieces/nephews over at her house even when I'm not there? Married 5 years, no children. So I have some baggage first and foremost. I was the oldest of 5 and my mom was an abusive alcoholic. Dad not in the picture. I was forced to raise my younger siblings as a result and hated it. I really had no childhood and went back to college in my late 20s because I never had the chance to focus on myself. As a result, I really can't stand children until the age of 14. I can't stand their shrieks, their erratic movements, their whining, their sticky hands, their drool. I can go on. My husband and I are both childless and we're happy that way. 2 years ago, my husband's brother and sisters started popping out children at nearly the same time. He now has a niece and a nephew, both under 2 years old. They live about 30 to 40 minutes away. My husband wants his sister and her baby to come over during the day. He works from home, so they can have lunch or walks together. He needs to stay at our house in order to work, but they like the idea of spending an hour together in the middle of the day while my sister-in-law plays with her baby for 2 to 3 hours. I really don't feel comfortable with this and have told him so. There's something deeply uncomfortable with having young children in my living space even when I'm not there. I would hate coming home to the smell of diapers or baby food or spit up. We're fighting because my husband thinks I'm being unreasonable to ban all children from our home even when I'm not there. I think since it's our shared home, I should get a say in which guests can enter. Am I the antagonist? Okay, I'm definitely sorry that you went through all of that as a kid. It can't be easy to have to raise your family. Like, it's probably one of the hardest things to do as, like, a young person, to raise all of your siblings. But this is unreasonable. To have your husband not be allowed to spend time with his own flesh and blood in his own home when you're not there is kind of insane. I do think you have a few options here. I mean, your life isn't over. You could get hard to work in therapy to try and deal with some of these issues. I'd kind of already hope that you'd be in therapy since you had a traumatic childhood experience like this and hate children so much because of it. Or you could leave your husband and try to find someone who will not involve children in their life whatsoever and will never want any children in their home, regardless of if they're family or not. Because to be honest, I think that if your husband were to concede in this situation and be like, okay, I won't have my nieces or nephews in the house ever again, even when you're not there, I'd say he's kind of spineless and that isn't a decision that he should have to make. This is another super complicated one. Am I the antagonist for cutting my best friend out of my wedding? Long story short, my best friend got married last year. I was asked to be co-best man and had to share the duties with one of his former co-workers because said co-worker had asked my best friend to be his best man a few years beforehand. My best friend and I have been friends years before this co-worker came into the picture, but I was fine with sharing duties. Co-worker lives across the country now, so I was tasked with planning the bachelor party and paid for everything. Coworker never attempted to help with planning or financially. Best friend's wedding comes around and I'm relegated to second best man. I had to give my speech after coworker, and even though I was told I'd be the one to do it, coworker signed best friend's marriage certificate. Now, I'm getting married next year, and my fiancé brought the idea of not doing a wedding party, groomsmen and bridesmaids, as to not make people feel like they had an obligation so they could just enjoy the wedding. I agreed, but only to spite my friend and not to have him be my best man. If the events that played out hadn't happened, I would have fought to have him be my best man. I'm also planning on having another friend sign my marriage certificate. Am I being an antagonist? A lot of people on Reddit are calling this guy the antagonist, and I can't help but disagree. I think that this dude was very much wronged by his best friend with this previous wedding thing. I mean, they were supposed to be co-best men, which this dude was totally okay with. He ends up having to shoulder all of the responsibilities for the bachelor party and pay for everything, and I think that's a big deal. And then to be relegated to second best man after putting in all this work on short notice, that's just a scumbag move. I mean, imagine if you put in so much work for your best friend and then last second they told you, oh yeah, you're of lower value than this coworker that I previously said you were of equal value to. So I think just agreeing with his wife in this situation and not rocking the boat and just being like, hey, I'm just gonna kind of shove it to my best friend because he did not treat me well in his wedding is not that big of a deal at all. Am I the antagonist for taking an inheritance? So around 5 years ago while I was at school, I did a class trip to a retirement village and had to work there for a few days to get a certificate. I met a woman there and we became friends. From that point on, I visited every month and took her out as often as I could. We went shopping, saw movies, and I had to take her to the hospital on occasion. She loved me like a daughter. She had kids, but they never visited or called her. She passed away a few months ago, and I found out that most of her money/things were going to her church, but she had left me $10,000 to help with uni costs. I cried for a whole day when I found out. Her real family found out and have been telling me I do not deserve it and I need to give it back to them. I've been refusing and they are now considering getting a lawyer involved. Am I the antagonist for not giving it to them? I mean, there's a reason that people themselves get to create their own will and decide where their money goes. If you made such a large impact on this woman that she wanted to give you $10,000 when she passed away, that's where the money should go. I mean, you said that her children never visited or called her, so maybe that made an impact on her as well. Maybe she was like, hey, this person really helped me at the end of my life, and who knows, there could have been a bad relationship between this woman and her children for a very long time if nothing went to them, and I'm pretty sure a lawyer would agree that somebody's will is a legal document and denotes where that money is supposed to go. This is a cut and dry case in my opinion. You are not the antagonist. Hey, if for some reason you want more of me, you can find me on Twitter at QStarVideos, also on Instagram at QStarVideos, and Twitch. I am intending to do more Twitch live streams in the coming weeks and days. You can find all of those things in the description down below, alongside Amazon affiliate links to the equipment I use, except for my mic. I still haven't updated the description with my new microphone, but I will. I'm really enjoying this Blue Yeti. A lot of people advised me to get the Blue Yeti. A lot of people told me not to, but I am enjoying it. Let me know what you think of the microphone quality. But the cool thing about those Amazon affiliate links is if you click them and then you do other shopping on Amazon, I also get credit for that, so consider doing that sort of stuff. Anyway, regardless of those things, skate on to the best of your abilities, make sure you're drinking more water, and I will see you very soon.